let's talk business for a second. You guys are in business together right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. And so talk to me a little bit. Did you start it?
I started my own detailing company a little under a year ago. I did it myself just because I'm always trying to find ways to leave my job. I don't see a nine to
Yeah.
five being my. I know that's a saturated quote, but it's just a feeling I always had. So I always have a new business idea, try to run with it, and I was finding issues with working my 9 to 5 and running the business because I worked from like 3 a.m. to 4 p.m. Sun's only out for so many hours. So I backed off a little bit. In that time span, Erik had left Publix, and that in between, I guess when he left, he was doing your own business ventures, and he got into washing cars himself. And we talked on the phone. He told me like what he was doing. I told him what I was doing, and in the midst, I ain't gonna lie, it's kind of like feels like it should have been happened because we always talk business with each other. But we was like, bro, let's just do like a wash or two together because I had what he didn't have. We knocked that shit out so quick and like so fluently because we already know each other. I was like, bro, just call me whenever. And it kind of became just our own business now. We just do it together.
That's dope. Talk to me about your feelings on a 9 to 5, because a lot, like you said, it's a cliche statement usually, but there's weight to it. But oftentimes when people talk about it, it's usually they're missing the other thought, which is when you're not working 9 to 5 for someone else, you got to work 9 to 5 for yourself. You feel me? So what is it about the 9 to 5 you don't like?
I know what I'm capable of. I can do a 9 to 5 because every job I have, I'm a good worker there. But when it comes down to what I know I can do, what I have done growing up, and the ideas that I get, when you talk to your coworkers, this was a big thing in the warehouse I was in. Talk to your coworkers, and they're all like, "Oh yeah, talking about this girl, this that."
Yeah, yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
bro, I'm trying to think of ways to get out
Bro,
of here, bro.
the warehouse we was in, that thing was like a prison, man.
Really?
Oh, I mean, I hated going in there. It was dark, cold as shit. And it was bad. And people, the whole moving up system was weird because it was like you were on a waiting list. Some of these people have been on a waiting list for 10 years
Waiting list for what?
to move up in a position.
For an
a position.
opportunity to move up,
And it's
not to
not
be
it's
manager.
not a crazy bump up at all. So it's like you're sacrificing 10 years of your life for a little extra 10K a year. That doesn't make sense to me at
Okay,
all.
then talk to me about that. Why do you guys feel like people stay in it? Because I've experienced the same things. Okay. Yeah.
But like it's safe, but we also need people to do it. And people enjoy it. We're not here to like shit on a 9 to 5 because like do what you got to do. Yeah, do what you got to do. Everybody got to make money, but man, it's like we need people to do it because everybody can't be trying to do their own thing. You can't. It won't work. Everything will crash. So we need some people to be comfortable. Which, if that's where you're comfortable and you genuinely enjoy your job, there's no reason to change it. If you really enjoy your life, ain't no shame. You're making your money. Can't be mad at that if you're making your money.
Absolutely. Okay, so what makes you guys then not want that life? You said it's safe earlier. So that implies, right, naturally when you go do something on your own, it's unsafe. Right? There's more risk involved. And so what makes you willing to you said you know what you're capable of.
Yeah. First, I believe in high risk, high reward. I do. But looking at me personally, I've always like overcompensated, whatever the word is, when everything I've done. Like probably from the time of me being 12 to now, I've probably started or tried to do like 12 different businesses. And there's a reason that I always think of reasons in businesses to start, and my friends don't understand why. So like he said, everyone has a position. I don't know if it's higher power, God, whatever you want to believe in, but there's a reason that I have that thought in my head and you don't. How when I go to a job, I look at it like, man, I could hire a couple friends and do this myself. Why am I coming here? Even though the money's good. So personally, how I see my life going is I'm running something. So whether I work for somebody for how many years, I don't know. But if I was making $100,000 at a safe job, I'd still try to run my own shit. I just feel like that's what's in my legacy. Like that's how it's supposed to go for me.
Right. Okay, that's interesting because you two, I just met you, but I've known Erik. Eric's had what? You started your LLC,
Yeah, I have a vending machine business.
right? But you had another business before that, and
It was just a vending machine business.
okay, got
Yeah,
you.
I
Oh,
was
but you were
working
doing
on
the
that
green
one.
light stuff at
Yeah.
that time. Okay, I see what you're saying. Like you're the only person like so serious. I always tell people about you. I haven't told you, but you're like one of the only people who I know who started a business and like it's made revenue, it's made profit, and it's still alive today. Because a lot of people like they start businesses and they don't. But like just speaking to the both of you guys, right? That high risk, right, high reward, right, also comes with high losses on the other end, right? And so yeah, and so like even me, that I understand that. So like, and I've watched my parents do it. Like my dad was an entrepreneur. My mom helped him with his business, and I'm like, damn. Like when things were good, they were great. When things were bad, they were bad. And so that's kind of the reason why I'm like, okay, to start off, I wanted the safe route. You feel me to start, and I wanted to gain as much knowledge before I started a business. But from both of y'all's perspective, I wanted to hear what has been the toughest part when you start your own business.
It's the setting the standard for yourself. Knowing what you're gonna let slide and what's not gonna slide, I think is the biggest thing. Because it's a big mental toll. It really is. Because like when you're sitting around, you're like, damn, I really can be doing a marketing thing right now. I could be pushing my stuff out, putting my stuff on Facebook, putting my stuff on Instagram, making a reel, doing this, that. But you also have to know like there's a balance. We can't just work. You have to be able to, relax, decompress for a minute, get your stuff together, and come back to it. So I think that's the hardest thing, is the mental side of it, and people don't really talk about it at all. People really don't, and it's huge because it took me a minute to work on my mental, because I was tough on myself, really tough on myself with it, being like, you always need to be doing something, and it doesn't need to be like that at all.
I would say mine is being overly optimistic. When I write down the business idea and I tell that one person, I'm like, bro, it gotta work. I do this. I'm thinking of marketing. I'll design my own logos. I'll build the business in 24 hours, like the whole motto. And I'm like, oh, this gotta work. I just need some money, put it here, and we're good. So when you get that first loss, and you be like, okay, we good. We just keep it going. And you take that second one, that third. Like I said, they don't talk about it. It's more loss than gain, especially in the beginning. So when you consistently keep getting, knocked down, you're like, you looking at the book, you remember that day where you was like, oh, it's gotta just.
Yeah.
Looking at all these other people on social media just winning, not showing their losses. You like, damn, what am I fucking up on? And it's overwhelming. It's just like a mental strain at that point.
Right, and it's funny you said when you're looking on social media. Like I picked that piece up because I feel like with social media today, everything seems like a good fucking idea. I haven't heard a bad idea. I'm like, well, that sounds like that. Yeah, flipping houses. Grant Cardone, come on. I'm flipping houses, guys. Sounds like, yeah, duh. They're not making any more new land. Or some dude, go invest in equities, invest in stocks. Sounds great, right? The average market return 7%. But with all those ideas, right, what's never filtered out is, like we talked about, the risks, right? And the realism on the execution.
Exactly.
Ideas,
all the
right?
actual work that goes into it.
Exactly. And so when you guys, right, you've started your businesses, execution, how is that fared for you in trying to start your business? Because I think I've talked to everyone I know has a business idea. That's just a fact. I can tell you 25 business. I have a whole notes app that I have business ideas. Boom, 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 boom. But when I gotta go like start and I get the LLC, whatever, and it says, okay, go. What is the execute, like, for real, what is that execution? And what is, I guess,
Like, I almost, like, for the vending machine thing, it took me a while to get it started. And it wasn't even like I was waiting on things. It was just battling with myself, like, can I do it? Will this actually work? So one day I just had to throw myself into it. So I went on a website. I'm like, you know what? I'm buying this location. I bought it. What do I got to do next? All right, I got to go get a machine. Buy the machine. I got the funds. Just go buy the machine, and just throwing yourself into it sometimes can be the best thing, and not knowing everything is actually key. Don't go in trying to figure out the solution for every single thing, because you're not going to know, and the information is not there. You have to go through experiences, so you have to take those losses. It's gonna happen.
A lot of people want a step-by-step guide, so when it doesn't go that way,
Yeah.
it goes off route, and you got to think on the fly. People are like, oh, I didn't know it was gonna be like this. Get overwhelmed, and then the whole thing goes crashing. But I had a thought I was gonna add to what you were saying, but I just forgot it. That's the problem.
Hey, that's real, man. That's real. I'm like that all the time. I'll say to tie. One thing I want to tie into this business conversation is we were speaking about mental health earlier. You brought up social media earlier, and I think the psychological aspect, right, of starting your business has to be like not even bearable, like almost unbearable, from the sense of most businesses, they say, don't generate any profit for the first year. So everything is lost. You might get revenue, but at a loss. I was watching a guy who he showed his 5-year business from the time he started to today. And in his 5th year, he made $4.5 million. He grossed in his first year, he just was minus $10,000. And it was like, yo, a lot of people at that minus $10,000 are quitting, which is why. And the other statistic is most people after the first year of business do what? They quit it at the loss because they're like, I shouldn't lose anymore than this. And so psychologically, how have you guys been able to handle?
You know what helped me a lot? I recently moved to Duluth, and on when you go on Instagram, you see all the young kids. They got the nice cars. They wearing all the designer. So when I moved into Duluth, I'm not far from Johns Creek, which is a very nice area. So I see Lamborghinis, Rolls Royces, Porsches, all the nice stuff. There's old people driving them. There's old people driving them. Yeah, you see the occasional kid, 18-year-old in an M4. You're like, damn, that's awesome. But everybody is old. So it's like, all right, looking at the real life picture of it, bro, just keep going. It's a process. This doesn't just happen like that because then everybody would be doing it.
Coincidentally, we just talked about that while we was on work, and I was telling him like that's where I struggle, the mental aspect of it. Cause me personally, I need to get off social media for one. That's a problem, I know, but I'm hard on myself. Like, when I used to race and I was like just in competitive areas, I used to tell my dad, like when I got older, I was like, hey, stop telling me good job. I noticed I'll pinpoint stuff like people I looked up to, their parents, how they raised them, how they were looked at as so harsh, but look what it made. So like that discipline, that anger that they brought out in their child, it kind of, made them go harder. So when I was racing, I told my dad, I was like, stop telling me good job. I didn't win. I could have did better. So I'm not saying yell at me, but tell me like what you're seeing that I'm doing wrong that I need to fix. I'm getting out of my own way. Let me know. But in like business space, I'm very hard on myself because like I said, I know my capabilities, but obviously everybody's opportunities are different. There's a lot of variables. So you can't think, okay, yeah, like I'm the millionaire, I'm going to be the one, because then you're setting yourself up for disappointment. And I tend to do that a lot. So he had just told me about the older people are the ones that are in the car. It takes time. It's a small percentage of the ones that actually get it.
Yeah, like the select
instantly.
few, they're gonna figure it out. The select few, someone's always gonna break the code and just
There's an anomaly
get
every
it.
now and then.
But the other 99%, they gotta go through it. You have to go through the process. You have to experience all the feelings that come with it.
I love that. I think the way I can sum up y'all's points, and I was talking to my friend Ennis about it the other day when he was just asking me about my life and how how I view certain things, and I told him, when you're just trying to be the best version of you, you're not too concerned about how that guy made $2 million in 5 months. You're not worried about this dude that makes money over you. You're not worried about even yourself at times because you're like, dude, I just know I'm putting in the effort. You feel me? So the way I'm gonna handle everything that happens around me is just knowing it's the older people are in there. It takes the time, and I don't know what my journey has in store for me. Because I think one thing that's not talked about enough when it comes to money and trying to be wealthy, life is just experiences, right? When you die, no one celebrates your net worth. You just died, bro. They'll be happy you pass it down to your family, but I think even more importantly, you're gonna really cherish the times. And I look back on my own life, I always laugh about the times when I was broke, didn't have anything, and I was working towards something. And then, oh my gosh, I actually got it. And I think that is actually the greatest experience in all of this. We all want to be millionaires, right? But one day, hopefully, when we're all millionaires, we're gonna laugh and joke about the times when we weren't.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
Talking about the stories when you didn't have it.
yeah.
because that was the significance in all of it, right? Is figuring out what's wrong with what I'm doing. When you said I told my dad stop telling me good job, it's not because you needed to beat Usain Bolt. No, no, no. It was because you wanted to embrace the process and the journey of trying to be better. And I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is. Like I love one of your podcasts is you was talking about your experiences in work and how you went through all these different positions and they didn't pan out to what you thought, but at the end you took it like, you know what? Even though that wasn't it, I'm so much closer to where I want to be.
Right.
And I thought that was awesome because that's something a lot of people need to hear. Like, just try things. Just try
I
things.
need to probably listen to that too.
No, that's actually my favorite
Because
one.
I've noticed everything feels like it's either left or right. And if you make the wrong turn, that you're going to be 10 years back. Everything is like, it feels so fast paced now that when someone says, okay, look, I got a job opportunity, it's going to be a little less money and more work. And you'd be like, well, do I really want to work in that space? Because you thinking like that next move is going to be what you do the rest of your life. But it just might be another chapter. You know, sometimes you got to go backwards. It's going to put you 10 steps ahead later. But it's hard, you know, because we don't know our story yet. You know, we just living day to day. When it comes, it's like I'm sitting there on a balancing beam like, yo, I don't know which way to go. Like, I don't know if I'm making a life decision right now. So I admire you for, like he's saying, that you, whether you take it or not, you just, okay, let me just see where it goes. Oh, it didn't work out. All right, cool. We keep moving.
Absolutely.
Because that failure can really, like, make somebody stagnant. And they'll be like, damn, like, I'm
does.
questioning everything now.
Exactly. You start overthinking. I always tell people it's pump faking in life. You're pump faking, so you want to take the shot, but you're not shooting it because you're scared you're gonna miss. Our coaches used to say you only miss the shots you don't take. For real, every shot that you do take, it's 50-50. It either goes in or it doesn't. And when it doesn't go in, you adjust, right? You make the readjustment. Now, obviously, there's shot selection, right? You got to pick your spots in life and what you want to do. And hopefully, I hate to ever say a turn is monolithically left or right? A turn just might be a different lane or a different avenue that puts you, maybe it takes you off path a little bit, or maybe it gets you right back where you need to be. But embracing the journey nonetheless.
I fall in love with the process.
Exactly. I love hearing the stories about guys who went to prison for 20 years and they come out and they're better men.
Yeah.
They could have just went to prison for 20 years and then racked up even more years because they're fighting, doing this, that. But there's guys who went, and that's one of the worst.
That's a process. That's a
Enjoyed
process.
the process of that, and they came out successful. Wallow, Gilly the Kid, Jordan Belfort is a guy, Wolf of Wall Street. He went to prison after he did what he did. He's still a multimillionaire. So the process, man.
You could learn a lot of things from people's perspectives. Like, if you look at someone else's life, like you said, someone that's been locked up 20 years, they get out, and when you see them, they're in a Lamborghini, they're, on top of the world. You don't know the story. When you hear people's stories, like, that's what, like, really connects you with them. Like, okay, maybe I'm not tripping. Like, I was down about this, but, you did 10 years in federal prison. Then you went here. You was homeless, living on the street. But now look at you. I'm in the suburbs. I'm not in the worst situation. And I'm getting beat and beating myself every time I get a little failure. Yeah. So when you hear somebody else's story, it kind of humbles you. Like, okay, let me just keep it going. It's not that deep. Like, it could be a whole lot worse. Just as being in this country is already, we ahead of most of the other world, like the rest of the world. So
I want to know then, from y'all's perspective, I think this goes right into relationships. And